So, hi guys. As you can see, I'm sitting on a different motorcycle than usual. I recently, this weekend, have bought a Grom. You probably all know it, or a lot of them, but if you don't, I will explain shortly what it is. It's a very small motorcycle. You know, a scooter, this one is smaller. It still has 125cc, but yeah, it's ridiculously small. It only weighs 100 kilograms, has like 10 horsepower. It has tiny wheels, like from a scooter, and you sit on it like a clown a little bit, but it's actually quite good position. Yeah, it's a real funny bike, and that's why I bought it. Not for the horsepowers, of course. My Grom, or MSX125 as it's called, is from 2013. That was the year it was introduced. So this one is already 5 years old, but it only has 8,000 kilometers on it. The previous owners didn't ride it that much, but anywho, they want to get rid of it. I saw it online. It was online for, I think, only 10 hours, and already 4 or 5 people were bidding on it, and everybody wanted it. And I got lucky because somebody was supposed to buy it on Friday, but he didn't show up. So that's how I got it, because I already sent him a message and hey, can I buy it? And no, somebody's coming on Friday. And then I got a message like, hey, that guy didn't show up, are you still interested? Hell yeah, I will come buy it whenever you tell me to. So this Saturday I drove an hour to buy this motorcycle, and now I got it. Yeah, it's almost 100% stock. The only thing he changed is the exhaust. You probably heard that a bit. This guy was a motocross guy, so he had a spare motocross exhaust from Honda, and he welded a exhaust tube by himself, which he has done quite nice actually, and he put on a cross exhaust. There's this nice brown tone to it. But it's really funny because it's a bit louder than you would expect from such a small bike. So whenever you drive by, or when you come from behind of people, they expect to be like, oh, there comes the motorcycle, and then they see me like, yeah, it's really funny. This is only my second day riding on it, because I had a couple issues. I wanted to adjust the chain, to adjust it tighter, and then I saw something on the tire in the tread, and I was wiggling it, and what is this? And then suddenly poof, it popped out, and then you heard the tire deflating. So that was a puncture. But luckily, that's one of the first pros about this bike. Because it's so small, it's from Thailand, the parts are extremely cheap. The motorcycle tires are not from Thailand, of course. The original ones are. Replace them as soon as you can, by the way. But the tires were 40 euros each. Compared to a motorcycle tire, that's very cheap. That's like 1/3 of the price. So that's already a first pro. Yeah, about the cheap costs, like a new chain for a normal motorcycle. For a normal motorcycle, a new chain would cost you, I think, 100 euros, plus maintenance to put it on, and etc. For this one, it's 20 euros for a chain, a couple 10 euros for sprockets, and some maintenance. So it costs you like also 1/3 of the price of a normal motorcycle. So that's really cool. For its low horsepower, it accelerates nicely. You can come along with the cars, not when they full throttle ahead of you, and or are from a German make, so they have a lot of horsepower. Then you will lose. But all the normal cars, the small ones. In the Netherlands we have very small cars, by the way. They are easy to beat, so that's really fun. Then you stand next to them in the traffic light, and then you'd be like, yeah, I want to race, and easy. And then you just sprint ahead of them, and suckers. And another pro is the weight. I already said it, it's 100 kilograms. So that means that you can just, when you stand up, then you can pick up the handlebars and just turn it around if you want to. With changing the tires, it was a bit of a hassle because it's the first time for me to do it, but it was so light I just picked it up, or well, picked it up with a little help, and put it on some bricks to support it, and then it was okay. Then you can work on it, so no need for a center stand or wherever. That's useful. Yeah, because it's also so small, it's another pro, is it's really flickable, or I don't know the correct word for it, but yeah, it also for turning it around while standing still. Just imagine parking it or whatever. You could just do that in one turn. It got like a turn radius of 2 meters. It's ridiculously small. One downside everybody experiences when riding on a Grom, or there are a couple of downsides of course, but the first one is that when you want to go from neutral or second gear into first, then you click, of course, but then you can keep on clicking the rod or the lever to get it into first. So then you will be like, what? Why isn't it doing anything? Why is it still neutral? But no, it's actually a first. So that's something to get used to. Yeah, another downside of the size, of course, is that the suspension is also made according to size. And here in Europe or America, yeah, we tend to be a bit bigger, a bit heavier. So yeah, the suspension is made for I think 50-60 kilogram man or girl or woman, whatever, and not for me 100 kilograms of weight. So you will notice that in the suspension. There is a way to solve it by just putting in heavier front suspension oil. You can replace the rear wheel suspension to make it a bit stiffer, but that has its price because suspension is still expensive. That's the only part of the whole Grom that isn't cheap. It's the suspension. Also, what's something that is quite cheap is the mileage. It has a 5.5 liter gas tank, and it drives around, well, I still have to test it because this is my first tank. It gets around 1 to 40 kilometers, so 1 liter for 40 kilometers or 50, it depends on how you drive it. So that means from one tank of gas you can get 200, 250 perhaps of kilometers. That's really cool, because then you only have to put in like 8 euros of gas and you got another 250 kilometers to go. Also the insurance is really low. My normal bike is 20 euros a month. This one is only 5 euros a month for insurance. Alright, let's show what the Grom is good at. Ta-da! And we're up front. For me, I'm 6'1", that's 1 meter 83. Yeah, the seating is quite good actually, the position. The seat is a bit hard, but that's not bad. It can be bad for longer distances, but I don't plan to do that on this bike. That should be a bit ridiculous. I picked my big bike for that. But yeah, it's okay. It's recommended to replace the seat. That's also not very expensive. You can get one from Thailand for I think 100 euros. So I might be doing that in the future, but for now I leave it like this. Uphill, you can notice it struggles a bit. About the top speed actually, It apparently can do 100 kilometers an hour. I did it yesterday with a lot of luck. I tucked in and the wind was gone, so it was doable. But it's very dependent on a lot of factors. As soon as I changed the tires from the old ones to the new ones, again, replace the old ones as soon as you can. The V rubbers, that's what they call it, suck like hell. They're so bad you cannot imagine. As soon as the road gets a little bit of moisture on it, you'll slide and tip over. So that's a tip. But the old tires were a bit squared off by the previous owners, because yeah, they didn't change it and they only rode it a couple times to into town, so that's a lot of straightaways. Yeah, change them as soon as you can when they're squared off also.
8 hours later.
What was I talking about earlier? Oh yeah, tires. So yeah, the speed is dependent on the tires, and these new Michelins are new, of course, and way better than the old V rubbers. The V rubbers were squared off, so they had a lot of friction from the road because they had a large contact patch. And these Michelins, they are still round, so less friction means a higher top speed. Also, the acceleration is a lot better with these Michelins. What also is very cool about the Grom is that you can mod it whatever you like to. I already got some new LED blinkers on the way from China. The only thing you need to do for that is connect them, change the LED relay that's somewhere in the headlight, and then you're good to go. Also I got some short levers on their way, black ones, that's better. Yeah, if you Google it, MSX125 modifications or custom or whatever, then you find a lot of pictures from Thailand or Southeast Asia in general, and they are crazy over there. They put adjustable suspension on it, like air suspension. They put on a longer swing arm and have some wicked paint jobs. There's even a guy, I found it on YouTube a while ago, who made his Grom look like a tiny Honda CBR with the Repsol vinyls on it. Looks really cool, but yeah, that goes a bit too far for my taste. I just like to keep it original. Maybe change the color in the future because there's not a lot of panels that you need to wrap or paint, depends on what you do. I think I'm going to go with the wrap, because then you can remove it and restore it to original again. So yeah, maybe I find some cool wrapping foil online, wrap it and change the color. In the corners the Grom feels quite solid. It's nimble, of course. I mean, I only have to shift my weight a little bit and then you already change the whole bike. Yeah, but it feels like a decent big boy motorcycle on the road. Yeah, this is so much fun. You can just, I mean, it's so nimble, so light. As you can see, this bike is perfect for in the city or around the city, riding around on the roads. It's not suitable for highway speeds. You can do it, however, because it goes to a 90, sometimes 100, depends on the wind. So it's legal to drive on the highway, but I wouldn't recommend it at all, because it's dangerous to get between cars that are going 120, 130, and you're there on your little Grom going 90. The brakes are not that bad. The front is it's all one disc, of course, but the front, yeah, it bites a bit. It's good. It doesn't have ABS on this model. I'm fine with that. Let's see how fast it can go when I lie down. I'm all tucked in now. Let's see if near 100. Come on, wind! Come on, Grom! Nope. It's gonna stay this way. They must have looked ridiculous for the cars passing me. But again, you don't really care when you're sitting on a Grom. Uphill you can notice it's struggling a bit more, but it gets the job done, so no worries about that. Downhill. You know what's fun? These speeds, like 80, 90, are the same as when I am on my MT-07. I ride around at the same speed, and the Grom can just handle it very well. I might need to change the suspension sometimes, because I'm not that light. The suspension is made for little people, especially the front fork. It's made from spaghetti, I think. It's so soft. And the rear one, I can bounce on it, but yeah, it's already I think halfway its spring capacity. New suspension is the same price as for a normal motorcycle, like a big one. So you can buy Odins and that kind of stuff, and then you pay the highest price for suspension. But there's also one from YSS. Maybe I give that one a go. That's about 100, and then it will be a big improvement, I hope, over the standard suspension. Then you can see this, how small it is. It's so small. So, would I recommend this bike? Depends. Do you live in the city? Then yes, because this one is perfect for city limit speeds. It's small, it's nimble, you can ride it around everywhere. Then it's perfect. But make sure it's not your only bike. Make sure you got one for your free time, for fun, to ride around along with your buddies, or make a good tour in the countryside or whatever. Is this your only bike? No, then I wouldn't recommend this. It doesn't have the power to overtake cars easily. You will quickly get annoyed by the low acceleration times and speed and such, and you will be looking for a bigger bike very quickly. But like I said, if you live in the city, you already have a motorcycle and you want one for inside the city, then this one is the bike for you. It's perfect for that. And of course, if you don't want a scooter, because a scooter is also good for in the city, then you can even take some luggage with you. But if you wear a backpack like me, you only drive on city limits to 70-80 kilometers an hour, get this bike. It's so much fun. You can learn to do maintenance on it. It's very cheap to do maintenance on it. Fuel economy is great. It's just a blast to have this one. Also, a pro is that it keeps its value a lot, or a long time. So no problems with reselling it. It's so popular, you'll get rid of it very soon. So that's it for now. I'm home, and see you next time.